My friends, let me begin with a question that touches the heart of every senior living on a pension in Australia. Have you ever looked at your bills piling up, electricity, groceries, rent, medicines, and thought to yourself, how am I supposed to stretch my pension this far? If you felt that way, you're not alone. Millions of Australians, especially seniors, are struggling to make ends meet, and that is exactly why today's update matters so much. Centrelink is preparing to roll out an extra $1,000 payment for pensioners, and I'm here to guide you through every single detail, who qualifies, when it will arrive, and how you can prepare. But before we dive in, let me warmly welcome you to our channel. If this is your first time joining us, make sure to subscribe right now and turn on notifications. We are building a community that cares deeply about helping seniors, retirees and families stay informed about financial support and government programs. You don't want to miss these updates because sometimes just one piece of information can make the difference between missing out and receiving the help you deserve. Now let's get into the heart of today's topic. This $1,000 extra payment isn't just a number. It represents relief, dignity, and a chance to breathe easier for many older Australians. In these difficult times, when the cost of living keeps climbing, the government has finally recognised the struggles pensioners face and is stepping in with direct support. And here's the most important thing. This money is not a loan, not an advance you'll have to repay. This is real support, meant to put money straight into your hands. In this video, I will carefully walk you through every step of this payment. We will talk about who qualifies, the exact dates you can expect the money, how it connects with your regular pension schedule, and what you should do if you don't see the payment when it arrives. By the end, you'll have complete clarity, so you can plan your budget with confidence. But before we jump into the payment schedule itself, let's pause for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Why is this extra money being introduced now? The answer lies in the daily reality facing seniors. Electricity bills are higher than ever, grocery prices have skyrocketed, and housing costs are stretching budgets to the breaking point. On top of this, many pensioners live on a fixed income that simply hasn't kept pace with inflation. The government knows that if nothing is done, thousands of seniors will be forced into impossible choices. Do they heat their homes? Or do they buy food? Do they pay for medication? Or do they pay rent? That's why the $1,000 extra payment has been announced, to give pensioners some breathing space. It's not a miracle cure for every problem, but it is a step toward recognising the sacrifices seniors have made for this country and offering them respect in the form of financial support. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. When exactly will I get this money? And how will it be paid to me? That's the part we'll be diving into next. Stay with me, because I'm going to break down the payment schedule week by week, so you know exactly when to expect it and how it fits with your age pension or other Centrelink benefits. And remember, as we go through this, don't just watch passively, engage with us. Leave a comment below and let us know which city or town you're watching from. I love hearing from you, whether you're in Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, or a small country town. It makes this community feel like family, and together we can share information and support one another. So let's continue this journey. In the next part, I'll explain the eligibility rules in detail, who qualifies for the $1,000, which groups are included, and whether part pensioners, disability support recipients, or carers will also benefit. This is crucial because the rules aren't always straightforward, and I want to make sure no one here is left in confusion. Now that we've set the stage and talked about why this $1,000 payment matters so deeply, let's get into the question that is on everyone's mind. Am I eligible for this payment? This is where things can sometimes feel confusing because Centrelink has many different programs and categories. But don't worry, I'm going to explain it slowly, step by step, in plain English, so that everyone watching can follow along without getting lost in government jargon. First and foremost, if you are receiving the age pension through Centrelink, you are in the front line of those who will benefit. That means if you are a full pensioner living on the regular fortnightly age pension, this payment is for you. The government has made it clear seniors on the age pension are the primary group being supported. But it doesn't stop there. Many of you are not on the full pension. You may be on a part pension. Perhaps your income or assets mean that you don't receive the full amount every fortnight, but you still qualify for some pension support. Here's the good news. Part pensioners are also included. The principle is simple. If you are in the system and receiving some form of age pension, this $1,000 extra will find its way to you as well. Now, what about those on other Centrelink payments? This is where things get interesting. For example, disability support pension recipients. If you are living with a disability and rely on Centrelink for your main income, you will also be considered for this support. The government recognises that the rising cost of living affects people with disabilities just as much as older Australians. Carer payment recipients. Many Australians have given up their own jobs or full-time careers to care for a loved one. Whether it's a spouse, a parent, or a child with high needs, carers often struggle financially because their work at home is unpaid but absolutely vital. Carers are part of this support group too. Widow allowance and certain veterans payments. Although smaller in number, some recipients under these categories may also be included, depending on the exact criteria the government sets. The intention is clear, to reach as many vulnerable groups as possible. However, there is also a line drawn. For example, job seeker payment recipients, those who are unemployed and looking for work, may not be part of this exact $1,000 pensioner-focused support. Instead, they often have separate programs or supplements tailored to their circumstances. The government is framing this package as direct relief for those who cannot easily change their income situation, like pensioners, carers, and people with disabilities. Now, you may be wondering, what if I receive both the pension and another payment, or if I share a household with a partner who also receives Centrelink benefits? That's a smart question, because many households have two pensioners living together, or a pensioner living with a carer. In most cases, each person will receive their own separate $1,000 payment. That means couples could see $2,000 in total relief arriving in their household. That's a major boost that could cover months of bills, groceries, or rent. It's also important to mention residency rules. To qualify for the pension and, by extension, this extra payment, you must generally be an Australian resident and meet the usual Centrelink conditions. This means you must be living here, not overseas, and your pension must already be active. If you've suspended your pension or are living outside the country for long periods, you may need to check carefully with Centrelink whether this extra payment will apply to you. Friends, I want to pause here and emphasise something. You do not need to apply separately for this $1,000. If you already received the age pension, disability support pension, or carer payment, Centrelink has your details in their system. The payment will be made automatically, just like your regular fortnightly pension. This is not a process where you need to fill out forms, visit an office, or wait on hold for hours. The government's goal is to make it as simple as possible, because they know seniors don't need more paperwork. They need help. If you see yourself in one of those categories, congratulations, this $1,000 extra payment is coming your way. And if you're still unsure, don't worry. In the next part of this video, I will break down the exact payment schedule, the dates, the timelines, and how this $1,000 will be added to your regular Centrelink payments. That way, you'll know not only if you qualify, but also when you can start planning for the money to land in your bank account. Now that you understand who qualifies for the $1,000 extra payment, let's move into the part that everyone waits for, the schedule. When will you actually see this money in your account, and how will it connect with your regular pension payments? The government has made it clear that this is a one-off extra payment delivered alongside your regular Centrelink payments. This means you don't need to worry about a separate cheque arriving in the mail or a confusing new system. You will see the money deposited directly into the same bank account where your pension normally arrives. Here's how it works. Pension payments in Australia are made fortnightly, every 2 weeks, on a set day depending on when you first started your pension. Some people receive theirs on a Tuesday, some on a Wednesday, and others on a Thursday. This routine does not change. What changes is that on one of these upcoming pension days, you'll see an extra $1,000 added in. Now, let's look at the rollout. The government has set a clear payment window. This means that instead of everyone receiving the $1,000 on the exact same day, it will be distributed over a few weeks. Why? Because Centrelink serves millions of Australians, and paying everyone at once could overload the system. For example, if your regular age pension is due in the first week of the rollout, then your $1,000 will appear with that payment. If your pension is scheduled for the second or third week of the rollout, then that's when your $1,000 will arrive. In other words, your personal payment date will depend on your existing pension schedule. Now let's be specific about dates. The rollout will begin at the start of the month and continue for about 3 weeks. That means if your age pension payment falls in the first week of the month, you'll be among the first to see the $1,000 land in your bank account. Those with later scheduled pensions may wait until mid or late in the month. But here's the key point. By the end of the third week, every eligible pensioner should have received their extra $1,000. You may also be wondering, will this $1,000 affect my future payments? Will it reduce what I receive next time? The answer is no. This is not an advance, and it is not a loan. It will not be deducted from your future pensions. Think of it as a bonus, one that stands completely separate from your normal pension cycle. After the $1,000 is deposited, your fortnightly pension will continue as usual. For couples, this becomes even more significant. Let's say both you and your partner are on the age pension. Each of you will receive the $1,000 in your own payment cycle. That means a combined total of $2,000 for the household. Depending on your payment dates, you might see both $1,000 amounts land in the same week, or they could be staggered across different weeks. Either way, the result is the same: real support that you can use right away. Here's another important detail. If you are also receiving the energy supplement, rent assistance, or other Centrelink add-ons, those payments will continue as normal. The $1,000 will appear as an extra line item in your deposit, clearly marked so you can see it was the special support payment. Let me also address a question I've already seen many people asking. What if I don't see the payment when others do? The key thing to remember is your personal pension schedule. If your payment date falls later in the rollout period, you may need to wait a little longer. But if the rollout period passes completely and you still don't see the $1,000, that's when you should contact Centrelink. In the next part of this video, I'll explain exactly what steps you should take if there are delays or errors. But before we move on, let's pause and reflect. For many pensioners, $1,000 can cover several months of groceries, or a big electricity bill, or much-needed home repairs. It's not just money, it's peace of mind. It's the ability to breathe easier knowing that you don't have to choose between essentials. That's why understanding this payment schedule matters. With this knowledge, you can plan, budget, and make sure that every dollar works for you. In the next part, we'll talk about what to do if your payment doesn't arrive on time, and how to avoid stress by knowing the right steps to take. By now, we've covered who qualifies for the $1,000 payment and the full schedule of when to expect it. But let's be honest, sometimes things don't go perfectly. Bank transfers get delayed, Centrelink records aren't up to date, or people simply get confused about their payment cycle. So, what should you do if you're expecting this $1,000 and it doesn't show up in your account? First, don't panic. The rollout is spread over several weeks, and it's very possible your payment is simply scheduled later than others you've heard about. The first step is always to check your usual Centrelink payment date. Remember, the $1,000 will come through on the same day as your normal age pension, disability support, or carer payment. If your date hasn't come up yet, wait until it does before worrying. Second, check your MyGov account linked to Centrelink. Under your payment summary, you should be able to see whether the $1,000 has been processed. Sometimes the money is approved before it actually reaches your bank account, so looking online can give you peace of mind. If the payment date has passed and nothing has arrived, then it's time to take action. The best way is to contact Centrelink directly. You can call them, though be prepared for longer wait times, or you can use the secure messaging service through your MyGov account. When you reach out, make sure you have your customer reference number, CRN, ready, as well as your bank details, so they can check if the payment was processed correctly. In some cases, a simple issue like an outdated bank account on file could cause delays. That's why it's always a good idea to make sure your details are up to date in Centrelink's system before any new payment rollout begins. Now, let's also talk about scams, because whenever the government announces a large payment, scammers try to take advantage. Remember this important rule: you do not need to apply for this payment. No one from Centrelink will call, text, or email you asking for your bank details to process the $1,000. If you receive a message like that, ignore it and report it. The money comes automatically through the official system. Protect yourself by staying alert. So what can you do once the $1,000 does arrive? This is where planning makes a difference. For some, it may go directly toward clearing overdue bills. For others, it may be set aside for emergencies or used to buy essentials in bulk to save money later. However you choose to use it, think carefully and make it work for your future. This payment is designed to give you breathing space. Use it in the way that brings you the most relief and stability. And now, my friends, let's step back and look at the bigger picture one last time. This $1,000 extra payment is not just about money. It's about respect. It's about acknowledging that seniors, carers, and people with disabilities deserve dignity and security, even in tough economic times. The government is offering this support because they recognise the sacrifices you've made and the challenges you face. As we close, let me remind you of what we've learned in this video. We've seen who qualifies, we've walked through the payment schedule, we've discussed what to do if there are delays, and we've even covered how to protect yourself from scams. You now have the full picture and you can feel confident moving forward. Before you go, I want to say thank you for spending this time with me today. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We share these videos to help you, and by subscribing, you also help this community grow stronger. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What will this $1,000 mean for you? Will it help with bills, food, or perhaps give you the chance to do something special you've been putting off? Share your story, because your voice matters here. So, take a deep breath. Know that support is on its way, and remember, you are not alone. We're in this together, and as long as you stay connected, you'll always have the information and encouragement you need. Thank you again for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next update.